Today, we have another LUMIX camera update. This time it is for the newest cameras, the LUMIX S1II, S1RII and S1II. If you're shooting on these cameras professionally or you just picked them up, I think you'll be really happy with this new firmware, especially with the much improved thermal performance. After you update your camera, it is recommended to save all your camera settings, do a full camera reset and then load back your settings. If you want your camera to be fully set up for professional video and photo, I have linked all my custom settings below with a free masterclass for the S1II and S1RII alongside my Vlog cinematic LUT collection. Make sure to hit the subscribe button for all latest LUMIX content, and now let's jump in. Panasonic has updated the thermal performance so the S1II series manage heat more accurately, and the results are dramatically longer recording times. The following tests were done by Panasonic at an ambient temperature of 23 degrees Celsius with thermal management settings set to high. Filming in 4K 60 on the S1II, recording both to SD card and CF Express, which used to cut out at about 40 minutes, the camera now has no limits. Shooting in Cinema 4K 120 frames in 4:0 10-bit, the camera used to overheat at around 20 minutes when recording to an SD card. With the new update, that jumps to roughly 60 minutes under the same conditions. When recording to both SD and CF Express at the same time, the previous 15 minutes now becomes 30 minutes. But in saying that, in tests that Richard Wong has done on his channel, definitely check out his video down below, on the LUMIX S1II, recording to CF Express card with the original firmware, he managed to get 4K 120 and 20 degrees Celsius temperature for around 50 minutes. And now on the latest firmware in 25 degrees Celsius room temperature, he continuously recorded in 4K 120 for almost 4 hours with no overheating signs at all, and he just ran out of memory. So that is super impressive and a great confidence boost for continuously filming in warm environments. These improvements make the S1 series far more reliable for long interviews and events. Talking about overheating, I recently filmed a wedding video on Cook Islands with the S1II filming 5.1K open gate 25 frames, recording to both SD cards and CF Express in 28-degree heat. I was rolling on and off for about 2 hours in the morning, moving into shooting the ceremony in direct sunlight on a sunny day for an hour straight with no cuts, and filming into the night with pauses after that. So basically it was a whole day shoot and I did not get any overheating warning signs at all. And this was before this new firmware came out. The only thing I did to keep the camera cool is I just gave it a little ice bath in the morning. I'm just kidding. I opened the monitor all the way out to allow more airflow between the screen and the camera body, but that's basically it. I was really surprised how well it performed. Of course, I had two of my S5IIs rolling at the same time and a backup S9 just in case something went wrong, but the S1II just kept going. There was no overheating signs. So now with the new firmware, this camera is going to be even more reliable. And by the way, if you are a DJI Gimbal user, DJI has released a firmware last month that enables Bluetooth connection on their RS4 and RS4 Pro gimbals to the S1II series, as well as the S5II, S5IIX and GH7. So make sure to check your DJI Ronin app and update your gimbal. Next up, if you love 4K 120, it now gets subject detection, which is really exciting. It used to be that once you shoot anything above 60 frames per second, you had autofocus, but there was no subject detection. So no face tracking, no eye tracking, no car tracking. But now autofocus in 120 frames is going to be a lot more accurate. And to my surprise, subject tracking in 4K 120 also works while you have an HDMI cable plugged into the camera. Most of the higher resolution slow frame rate modes disable subject tracking with an external monitor plugged in. So for example, if you're shooting in 5.1K open gate and you plug in an HDMI cable, there will be no subject tracking in 50 or 60 frames, but in 25 and 30, there will be. So it's great to see that 4K 120 still works with subject detection with monitors plugged in. Next up is the redesigned dual native ISO interface, which is honestly one of the most welcome UI changes, as it's very useful for people just getting into the system or people who frequently switch between different picture profiles like Vlog, Natural, Cine-like and ARRI Log C3, as each of those profiles has their own dual native ISO. ISOs are now color-coded, intuitive and easy to navigate and understand. The low ISO circuitry is displayed in blue and the high ISO is displayed in red. This gives you immediate and clear feedback on which circuitry you're using and where two native ISOs are for each picture profile. As you can see, Vlog is 640 and 5000, but RE-Log is 500 and 4000. And because now we can see native ISO for each picture profile, we can pick the best one to optimize noise and dynamic range performance. For example, if you're filming in lower light in Vlog and moving towards ISO 3200 or 4000, you can see that if we move it up to 5000, this will change the circuit to the second base ISO, which will give you a huge improvement in terms of noise and dynamic range. This visual UI improvement works in video and SNQ, but does not operate in photo mode. It's a really cool feature that I haven't seen on any other camera, not even the Alexa 35, which I recently shot a commercial on. You just have to know that that camera has native ISO of 800EI. Anamorphic shooters, especially those using series lenses like the Saturn or Venus series, this is an update for you. We finally get 1.6 times anamorphic D-squeeze on the internal monitor, as well as the 1.6 times anamorphic IBIS stabilization. So if you're shooting on those series lenses, the camera now can give you an accurate D-squeeze preview on screen and stabilize the image correctly. Prior to this, you had to use 1.5 times D-squeeze, which is fine for visual preview and reference, but it could cause some issues in fast-moving or handheld shots when using 1.5 times stabilization on a 1.6 times squeeze lens. So it's great to see that little addition. While we're on the topic of anamorphic, I really wish that we can have anamorphic D-squeeze built into the HDMI cable. Unfortunately, when you change the D-squeeze on camera, it only affects the on-camera monitor and not any external monitor that's plugged in via HDMI. I would really love to see that feature being added, especially that the LUMIX Flow app, when you use your phone as an external monitor, does support the D-squeezing. So the D-squeeze on the camera actually translates into the Flow app, so your phone can monitor with the D-squeeze being applied. And that unfortunately doesn't apply to the HDMI cable, so hopefully Panasonic can add that in a future update. MP4 Lite OpenGate format is also here. It reduces the file sizes dramatically. Usually, if you're filming an OpenGate 5.1K 25 FPS in MOV format on a 256GB card, that will give us around 2 hours and 48 minutes. With MP4 Lite, you still get the benefits of a 3x2 OpenGate sensor. It still has really good image quality, but a lower bitrate of 50 megabits per second, where the file sizes will be a lot smaller with 3.8K recording. This will give you around 11 hours and 20 minutes on that same 256GB card. This mode is great for social media content and fast deliverables, and because the MP4 format is so widely acceptable, you can just send those video files straight to LUMIX Lab app and edit and post it straight from your phone. This is the exact same convenience that made the LUMIX S9 so popular for run-and-gun creators. I've shot a lot of content in MP4 Lite on my LUMIX S9 using real-time LUTs, where the color grading is done in camera. I just send it to my phone and upload it straight to Instagram. Autofocus also sees a couple of quality of life improvements. You can now turn off the display of all the additional tracking boxes when you have multiple subjects in the frame, leaving only one tracking box visible. This immediately cleans up the UI and makes monitoring a busy scene a lot easier. There's also a new option to remove the large crosshairs, face detection frame, and replace it with a small eye tracking box. It's less intrusive and makes people jumping ship from Sony feel a little bit more at home. Both S1II and S1RII have great burst photo modes, but sometimes it's just a little bit too fast. So LUMIX has added a slower burst mode option. For S1II now it has the ability to shoot 30 frames per second, which is great for sports and action when you don't want to overwhelm the buffer. And the S1RII now offers a 20 frames per second option, so you don't fill up the buffer as fast as you did with the faster frame rate. So it's great to have a faster and a slower option to choose from. False color has been slightly corrected and is now more accurate to what the sensor is actually recording. Highlights clipping and shadows behavior matches a bit better than before, so that's a really great and accurate way to judge exposure. On top of that, the update brings full LUMIX Flow app support, including LUT View Assist, multiple frame markers, improved autofocus box display, wireless mirroring to up to 4 devices, and a very important one: if your phone disconnects or the app accidentally closes, the camera will simply keep recording. I do go more in depth into all the LUMIX Flow features in my previous video, which covers the S5II and S5IIX firmware upgrades, so check that out if you want to find out more about LUMIX Flow app. There are also a few small but meaningful usability adjustments, like the on-screen indicator when constant preview setting is turned off. There's also a quick way to toggle auto ISO. So before you had to scroll all the way down to auto ISO, but now you can just press the ISO button, then program the front dial to toggle between manual and auto, and the back dial can do the manual control of ISO increments. You'll find the settings under Operations menu, which is called ISO Display Settings. And LUMIX has also added the compatibility with the 100 to 500mm lens and the teleconverters. And that's it. That's the full breakdown of the new firmware. It's always great to see LUMIX improving their cameras with firmware updates and listening to their users. If you want to help support this channel, check out my LUMIX settings and LUTs down below. And I'll see you guys next time.